welcome everyone to this EU Clusters Talk. My name is Chris Burns and I'm speaking to you from the European Parliament in Strasbourg. This EU Clusters Talk is on Ukraine, business challenges, opportunities, and the EU single market. How to integrate both the EU and Ukraine in business activity. This is an EU Clusters Talk that's a bi-weekly event by the European Cluster Collaboration Platform, the ECCP, on behalf of DG GROW at the European Commission. The format today, we start with some news, and then we go to a video, and we'll have three parts of this: a European and global perspective. We'll have the Ukrainian capacities and pitching, and we'll have showcasing social entrepreneurs, civil society, local business. Each section, each part will have Q&A, and that's where we hope to get you involved. You can put your questions into the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen that you see, and keep in mind the hashtag for any social networking, hashtag EU Clusters Talks, hashtag EU Clusters Talks. And this is recorded for playback. So let's get started with the housekeeping rules. Keep in mind you can use the chat function to put in your Q&A or to ask questions. You can keep in mind also that your microphone should be muted and raise your hand if you want the floor. And if you are talking, then make sure you activate your camera. All speakers should activate your cameras. And yes, it is being recorded. So let us move on then to, let's get on to the news. Let's start with the news from Nina Hoffmann, the team member of the European Cluster Collaboration Platform. Nina, how are you doing?
Thank you, Chris, and welcome everybody to this EU Clusters Talks this morning. We have some news to the European Cluster Collaboration Platform that I would like to go through with you. First of all, we have a survey of a solution-oriented approach to supply chain disruptions. Many businesses, companies, also clusters are noticing that supply chains are disrupted, maybe also because of the war on Ukraine. And we have a survey where you can answer with your ideas and projects on how the disruptions could be solved. So what are you actually working on? Please let us know. This will be closely looked at by the European Commission, and it's your chance to let us know what are possible solutions to the supply chain disruptions. And the link will be in the chat for you to go to this survey. Related to this, if you want to work on these ideas, project ideas, possible solutions together with others and to find new partners, we invite you to the first Cluster Collaboration Lab, which will take place in Cluj-Napoca on 22nd and 23rd of June, so this month. It is an interactive workshop which is open for companies, for clusters, for financial providers, and actors from the civil society to get together, form working groups, express your ideas, and bring the ideas together so that we develop project roadmaps for solutions on disrupting supply and value chains. For this, there's a preparatory webinar tomorrow at 2. So you're welcome to both register for the webinar and for the Cluster Collaboration app itself. You find the information as well as the registration links via this link on the website of the ECCP, where you have the different explanations about the lab and the links to register. So please join us here. Related to Ukraine, the European Commission presented plans for the Union's immediate response to address Ukraine's financial gap and the longer-term reconstruction. So this is a plan to provide continued relief and future support for the reconstruction, and it entails the Rebuild Ukraine facility to rebuild infrastructure, health services, housing, schools, all in line with the European policies and standards, and to bring forward the digital and energy resilience. You find information on this on the EU Press Corner via the link in the chat. And also, if you're interested in other information, practical information on EU support to Ukraine, there's information on the EC website on EU actions on helping Ukrainians, new measures, humanitarian assistance, and addressing disinformation, plus relevant documents that might be of interest. And there's a workshop series, Get Digital. This is a workshop series from the European Commission together with DISME and Digital SME for companies from the EU, from Ukraine, Moldova, and Georgia, who have the potential to scale up digital solutions to decrease European dependence on oil, gas, and external raw materials. 2 sessions in total from these workshops focus on decreasing European dependence, and the second workshop on being resilient. So this might also be interesting for you. You find the information in press corner and in the link in the chat. That's all from us. More in the next EU Clusters talk, and back to you, Chris.
Great, thank you, Nina. Let us then move on to the video, which is from our own correspondent, a collaboration between Ukraine and the EU, an example of collaboration. Let's have a look.
Hello, my name is Alexander Yurchak. I'm Director of Association of Industrial Automation of Ukraine. I manage today as well Ukrainian Cluster Alliance. So I will explain you the challenges we consider in both organizations, but maybe more about UCA, Ukrainian Cluster Alliance, as far as our association today is deeply integrated into activity of UCA. In fact, the main challenge is about the order. As far as domestic market was shrinking out up to 50% in Ukraine, it depends on the industry. Of course, our members, they lost the order in Ukraine. It means that we consider risk like unemployment and many other negative consequences. So we ask for how to increase orders. The first idea is, of course, internationalization, and we work a lot in this direction with our European partner. So we started with European Cluster Alliance with support of European Commission since early March. And the main method is in direct connection with clusters. We had already more than 5 meetings and almost 50 B2B meetings with cluster organization. And we consider today the first success story. Yeah, it's first step in this collaboration. The first one is about agreement of Eurotex with our association of textile industry, Ukr-Prom. We have already agreement between Control System Integrator Association from US with our association. We have a story about also our association signed an agreement with French cluster of industry 4.0, which called CIMAS. We have already just cluster story. For example, the Podillia fashion cluster, they reached good agreement with Polish and German partner in delivering of raw materials. It's typical story about how to cope with disruption of supply chain. So all the story say us that we have more or less the similar roadmap. So we go into deep relations and discussions with concrete cluster or associations. We sign MOU, a memorandum of understanding, and then we consider concrete projects. So what we can do just now is really to consider concrete project. It can be project of how to tackle with disruptionist value chain. It can be innovative project, yeah, because we are very sensible to any innovation project in US where we can integrate our member or cluster members, yeah. So it just now we need this integration of Ukrainian company into European supply chain, value chain, and integration project. And the second, let's build a common perspective. Of course, we hear it all about Marshall Plan for Ukraine. It will be a huge recovery reconstruction plan with hundreds of billion euro, we hope. And so we invite already European cluster to think about it, to cooperate with Ukrainian cluster, and together consider this perspective. Thank you.
Great, our thanks as well. Important to point out, yes, that there is this collaboration that is ongoing, and the future. Also, we have to think past the conflict, how we rebuild, and also keeping in mind that there has been for what, 7 or 8 years now, an association agreement with the Ukraine, aid and trade, and a trade area, a free trade area also with Ukraine. So all of that is something to build on, and that's what we want to talk about with Maiva Ruta, Deputy Director General and Head of the Task Force for Supply Chains at DG Internal Market, Industry, Entrepreneurship and SMEs. That's DG Grow at the European Commission. Good morning, Maiva.
Good morning. So indeed, it's a pleasure to be with you this morning. And I must say that since we met last, some of you have been part of the previous talk where I also participated in March. A lot has happened since. Well, on one hand, we of course realize that it's now more than 100 days. The war is continuing, and we certainly see and admire Ukrainians who are bravely defending their country against the aggression from Russia. So, of course, all this big battle and many political struggles are in the background. And I would say today, if we look now what has happened over the last 3 months, we really see a world that is very much different compared to what it was before 24th of February. And I'm not going to give you, a talk about all the things that are happening on a broad political scale, but I thought it's nevertheless, I think, important to mention maybe few of the bigger ticket items, and then I would say also a few points that are more concrete from our side, meaning the industry and single market side of the European Commission. So first of all, let me maybe mention, of course, something that all of you are aware of, but nevertheless, it's for me a historical step. Of course, the fact that in the meantime, Ukraine has applied for EU membership, and we in the European Commission, in DG Grow, but also in the other services of the European Commission, we are in the process of reviewing this very substantial material that Ukraine has submitted to the Commission to show their readiness, their willingness, their capacities to become a candidate of EU member country. So, and this month, meaning now June, is going to be, of course, a critical month when the European Council will look into it and a decision would be taken. So of course, all of us, we keep our fingers crossed that things will go in the good direction. And indeed, we can soon already see Ukraine very clearly on the path to become a candidate and later on also a member in the European Union. Another big piece of news, of course, that should also facilitate the interactions between Europe and Ukraine is something that has already been mentioned by our moderator today, the fact that EU has offered a tariff-free trade, at least for a year, and then of course one will see. This would be, I think, also indeed a point that we need to implement quite soon. On the other side, of course, we have seen over the course of the last 100 days and a bit more now already, that EU has stood up really against the aggression with the sanctions packages, and you know that we have now recently adopted also the 6th sanctions package. So all of it, of course, is also now starting to give effect and reduce the money that is flowing to Russia. However, of course, many of the things will take time before they really materialize, and some of the sanctions that were decided quite early on, in fact, in the war, they will only now really come into force with I would say, with a full force, because for many of the contracts that has been also a bit of a time to kind of become effective. Still on our side, I would say our side meaning DG Grow side, I want to also mention a couple of developments which are, I think, paving the way for more smooth collaboration. We are in regular dialogue with Ukrainian side, and already before the war we had so-called Europe, we call it dialogue, basically industry dialogue. But this is a way of really looking into looking together with Ukraine into the matter, and what can we do to facilitate industry and enterprises collaboration, and what more can we do to also facilitate access to the European single market. And on this front, we are continuing our work to help Ukraine build up all these systems that are necessary to ensure accreditation of goods that are meant to come to the European markets, to help with all these certification schemes. So things that are necessary for ensuring quality and safety of products before they can enter European markets. And this process is ongoing, and we plan to have another set of this type of policy level talks and discussions in early July, which I think is a good sign that despite of the war going on, there is a lot of willingness also on Ukrainian side to advance with, I would say, kind of normalization and reopening of the economy again. Another good sign for me is something that we now see as to the war refugees. And the statistics seem to go in a good direction, that now more people are returning to Ukraine than those who are leaving. And I believe this is really a hopeful sign that Ukraine will be soon ready to reopen more the normal economic activities, and businesses can return to their functioning. Of course, we understand it's not yet, as we say, business as usual. It is certainly still, these are certainly still difficult times, but we might now see the opening of opportunities for really businesses to start again. On our side, still, we have been working also on number of concrete files to facilitate the reception of the many war refugees. You have heard us speaking about recognition of the various qualifications of the Ukrainians who have taken refuge in European countries. We have also actually stepped up a very interesting program that is suitable for young entrepreneurs, or maybe those entrepreneurs who are not necessarily young by age, but who are young in their business operations. And there is a program called Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs that allows these new entrepreneurs to take several months of traineeship, which is financially supported by the European Union, and takes this traineeship somewhere in the European Union with another entrepreneur who are in the same field and already well established. So it's kind of an interesting opportunity to not only establish new business contacts, but very much to learn from an experienced older colleague somewhere in the European Union how the business in a particular field can be made successful. And on this Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs, we have managed to increase the opportunities available for Ukrainian entrepreneurs, actually several fold, and we are still hoping to make it even more widely available, because these are really the seeds of the future for the Ukrainian economy. These people coming back with fresh ideas, fresh contacts, and they should indeed be helping Ukraine with many of the new business opportunities. But then, of course, also those who are today in the call here, through this cluster collaboration, we believe we can do quite a lot. And we have already had testimonies from in the previous cluster talks about the concrete examples, how people have found each other through these cluster matchmaking events, and where then the business collaboration can indeed follow. In addition, we, besides the cluster, we have another very useful platform, I would say, which is the various industrial alliances that the European Union has put forward. We have industrial alliances, first of all, to reshape and strengthen our own industrial, I would say, fabric in Europe. But of course, these are also available for Ukrainian entrepreneurs. So let me just mention some of the most important ones which we have generated or created. We have the European Industrial Alliance for batteries. So we all know that batteries is a big business now as we go for more electromobility and renewable energy. So Battery Alliance is really a big success story. We are similarly building and strengthening our raw materials alliance, where I believe Ukraine is really a country with whom we want to work a lot. We have also clean hydrogen alliance, which is again an area where Europe is very much interested in going forward with kind of common efforts and rapid speed. And there I believe also this would be an opportunity for the Ukrainian entrepreneurs to be part of such collaborations. There is also an opportunity through the innovation and research program called Horizon Europe, as you know. And if I'm not mistaken, Ukraine is either already associated or is interested in becoming associated. And this would also allow them to collaborate through these research and innovation funding projects with Europe. And of course, besides of these directly business-related opportunities, you are aware that EU is supporting Ukraine with a lot of civil protection types of schemes as well. More than 350 million euros of assistance have been provided through these hubs that have been created in Poland, Slovakia, Romania. So all this work, of course, is also ongoing. But today, I think in this talk, we are focusing more on what can we do in practical terms to make the economy again going back to the normal routes. And in this front, there has been, or there is now, a new initiative which we call Solidarity Lanes, which I believe you are already aware of. And this has to do, of course, with the fact that the ports now being blocked. Ukraine is interested in getting many of the export goods out from the country, and we are together with Ukrainian authorities and with a number of member states developing these solidarity lanes, which would help actually send the goods through railways, but maybe also through waterways over Danube. And on this front, us in the clusters, we are working with the other Commission services who are making also the necessary, let's say, legal steps, such as permits which are needed for truck drivers and so on, making these available. We do realize that, of course, getting the grain out from Ukraine through the railways is not quite the same, let's say, volume that was previously possible through the ports. But at least we get now a momentum, we get some of the grain growing to the global markets. And for me, this is also a good sign that for the future, Ukraine would have a more diversified model of export going from the country, also through the railways and, of course, road transport as well. So all these steps go in the direction of making sure that while Ukraine is defending its territorial integrity and fighting the aggression from Russia, it already can start also reopening the economy and getting the exports going again. We in the European Commission, particularly in my side of the Commission, where we are working exactly on the SME issues, industry policy, and single market, we keep a keen eye on these developments. And we see that, for example, when we look into the trade numbers with Ukraine, we see that Ukrainian exports to European Union are now lower than they were before. And this, of course, is something that is due to the war and a lot of destruction going on. On the other side, of course, we are interested in seeing these numbers go up again. and the feedback we have received from various industrial ecosystems show that there is actually a lot of interest to restore the supplies. We have had important supplies to the automobile industries in Europe. We have had raw materials coming to various industries in Europe, but even services such as software development has been provided by Ukrainian businesses to important European industries such as car making, so automobile industries again. So all of this we would hope can come back again rather sooner than later, so that Ukraine can support its population, its economy better, and that in Europe also our companies will get the necessary inputs and we can build a stronger economic ties together. So there are of course many more details which I hope we will learn also through this seminar, and some of these were also already shown to you on the slides that Nina shared in the beginning. If you are interested, you will find more on our websites, and of course, for particularly the cluster collaboration companies here, do look into what we have on our various websites related to the cluster activities, because we do upload a lot of information there, and this is also the platform for finding partners, finding opportunities, and following through with your own energy and going for these real business opportunities. So with this, I will stop here, and I wish you a very good discussion today. On my side, I am very hopeful that the coming weeks are going to take us forward into, I would say, kind of a new level of collaboration between the European Union and Ukraine, and us in the DG Grow side. We will have basically in 3 weeks or 4 weeks time the next industry dialogue with Ukraine, which again I hope will help us take things forward. So thanks a lot.
Maiva, thank you very much. And I aim to continue this conversation later today. I'm having an event here at the Parliament with 3 members of the European Parliament talking about the impact of the Ukraine war on the European economy and how we're grappling with that. And obviously, the collaboration with the Ukrainians is also very important as part of economic development. Let us go to block 2, the second part of this discussion, which is perspectives from Ukraine. 2 people would like to talk to: Oleksandr Vasilchuk, Deputy Head of Entrepreneurship Development Support Division at the Ministry of the Economy, Ukraine, and Taras Holub, advisor to the Ukrainian Prime Minister for European and Euro-Atlantic integration. You each have 7 minutes to talk. Let's start with Oleksandr, please.
Good morning, dear colleagues. First of all, thank you for the invitation, and a few words about myself. I represent the Ministry of Economy of Ukraine, and I'm responsible for the development of entrepreneurship. And now a few words about the results of Ukraine's participation in COSME program. Since 2017, Ukraine has been a member of the EU program, Competitiveness of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprise Program, COSME. The aim of the COSME program was to enhance competitiveness and internationalization of export-oriented and innovative small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs. The membership status enabled access by Ukrainian SME to the non-financial instrument of the program, such as Enterprise Europe Network, Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs, European Cluster Collaboration Platform, and number of the other instruments. Short impact assessment from the participation in COSME. First of all, every single euro spent from the state budget of Ukraine for COSME membership fee grant generates more than 5 euros for the Ukraine economy. COSME is an effective tool in enhancing the competitiveness of Ukraine SMEs, stimulating the development of innovative products with high value added, and lubricate the process of internationalization and integration in Europe, thus driving the economic development of the country, creating, safeguarding jobs, and generating taxes. COSME is an effective tool of economic EU integration for Ukraine, stimulating many new contracts and contacts. Over 80% of the contracts and new businesses contacts obtained via COSME are with EU-based partners. Significant other benefits arising from participation in COSME and highlighted by Ukrainian SMEs couldn't be quantified. This includes exchange of experience, stimulating new technologies in Ukraine, internationalization of Ukrainian businesses, positive impact on the environment, as well as profit taxes paid for the state budget. Given the above, Ukraine is grateful for the possibility to participate in the EU COSME program during 2014-2021, where Ukrainian enterprises received significant assistance in terms of developing their capabilities and promoting their export and innovation potential. Now, Ukraine took note of the possibility for EU partner countries to participate in the single market program for 2021-2027, including the relevant possibility to participate in different elements of this program. Given Russia's military aggression against Ukraine, the economy in general and small and medium-sized businesses in particular need support. We consider Ukraine's participation in the EU single market program as one of the tools of support. Implementation of the competitiveness of business component program provides an opportunity to support business, including SMEs, facilitate market access, create a favorable business environment, promote business development and growth, ensure competitiveness and sustainability of companies and entire sectors, ecosystems, clusters, promote entrepreneurship environment, including mentoring schemes. Therefore, Ukraine would like to express its interest to become associated to the single market program. Some of its objectives: improve the functioning of the internal market, namely to component competitiveness of enterprises, which is aimed at improving the competitiveness of businesses, especially innovation, organization, and SMEs. We are currently waiting for reviewing the terms of Ukraine's participation in the program for a more thorough study of our capabilities. Thank you.
Great, Alexander, thank you very much. Let us now move on to your colleague, Taras Holub, advisor to the Ukrainian Prime Minister for European and Euro-Atlantic integration. Taras, please.
Good morning. Let me at first express my deep thank to all European Commission parts and for all the support for Ukraine last time after work. We are really inspired with your support, and I suppose we need more conversation and more opportunities in cooperation. Certainly Ukraine in the war. And sustainable developments tools we used before now is not so effective in this situation. So we expect more practical support from European institutions. Just last week we have a meeting with a research support team of Ministry of Economics of Ukraine, and was discussed what could be practical in this situation. For example, we have certain experience in exchange open data of customs to understand the structure of import-export and to see what can we do in practical way to be useful for European corporations to change Russian goods in European Union. We have this discussion with some national governments of EU countries. Certainly, we have some calls into open data information about what companies could support this program, and we have conclusion this work must be worked up on high level in European Commission, not with national governments. The second idea we have discussed, that is an opportunity to open big data information. We have short discussion with parts of CRM system, the companies who is supporting CRM system. For example, Ariba Corporation that is working, collecting information, big data about industrial cooperation. And we can see some opportunities to open this data for Ukrainian corporations, to make free access for Ukrainian companies to exchange with this data. And Ukrainian companies can have information about certain orders, certain needs of companies from European Union, and how they can meet requirements from this field. Certainly, we are thankful for European initiative, Path of Solidarity. I just back from a global SEC in Bratislava. We have both discussions with Ministry of Transport of Slovak Republic, how support Ukrainian import-export operations with corridors of solidarity. Have discussed short, mid-term and long-term projects could be implemented in this field. And I'm waiting for discussion with European Commission. What is the practical tools could be used to support this program. And the third step, that is recovery plan. We are very thankful in the declaration, for the declaration European Commission have declared, and we was discussing with European Commission persons what could be the practical way of use of this platform. We are waiting clear decisions soon, and hope to use this platform both to have practical financial tools from European Union, both for other countries that is not members of European Union, under supervision of European Commission. So we are hopeful in dialogue. We feel a lot of support, and we are going step by step in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Taras. And we will be discussing more of this. In fact, today here at the European Parliament, you might hear the buzz behind me, is Ruslan Stefanchuk, who is the chairman of the Ukrainian Parliament, is going to be addressing the European Parliament today. And very much on the top of the list is trying to get around or break the Russian blockade of Ukrainian grain and oil. And actually, we talked about this in the last cluster discussion about how logistically to try to facilitate the import-export with Ukraine. So that's very much a topic, Taras, that we're talking about. We can get back to a little bit more of that, but let's talk to another of our speakers, who is Witold Radwanski, Deputy Chairman of the Policy Council Polish Civic Congress. Witold, please tell us about the impact of this conflict on the economy.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me to share our framework that we have developed in Civic Congress in Poland. This is an NGO dedicated to the development of civic society in Poland, one of the leading players in the country. And we as a result of a number of conferences and reviews and analyses of what we have to admit is a large amount of noise going on regarding the impact of the war, Russia's war on Ukraine, have developed a sort of a framework that you can see on the screen, which is a high altitude instrument that puts in context the implications, and hopefully it can be used by you all as an instrument, as a tool for a framework for analysis.
Vitold, I like this idea of a ripple effect. It obviously visualizes the ripple effect, right?
Yes,
of the war.
Please look at it as a ripple effect type of framework. And the narrative is read generally in a clockwise direction. So, but of course, not necessarily, because everything is related with everything else. But if we proceed with that, of course, the first and foremost implications of the war on Ukraine are on Ukraine and Russia themselves, where I don't think I need to go into that, but in the future, I think we can expect that Russia will become, the Russian economy will be quite different, and its role in the world economy will be quite different from what it was before the war. And the same applies to the Ukraine economy, which will, regardless of whether the war is won, lost, frozen, or continued at different levels of intensity, the Ukrainian economy will have to be adjusted to more of a frontline state economy. And that will have implications on the structure of the Ukrainian economy and on its relationships with other countries, but not necessarily negative. We have examples from history, from other parts of the world, where frontline economies, which are almost in a state of war or suppressed war with their neighbors like Israel, Taiwan, even Germany during the Cold War, South Korea, these kinds of economies can be very successful, even in very difficult environments. But they can be successful on condition, of course, that certain macroeconomic, financial and fiscal policies are stable, and that they have other qualities like healthy public finances, independent central bank, and good economic policies. But nevertheless, Ukraine will be and will be perceived as a frontline state, frontline economy into the future. The second circle has to be reviewed in the context of the COVID crisis and what's going on in China. And here we're talking about essentially the disruption, the sanctions and embargoes in particular, but also the effect of the war on disrupting the COVID recovery. And we have described here 5 different kinds of disruptions in energy, food, supply chains, raw materials and inputs, and of course on production and services. But we believe that these will be more or less transitory. And as we know in business, every kind of disruption is also an opportunity, and eventually gets things that are put out of balance are put back into, rebalanced and are stabilized. But we think that probably this will last for another 2 years maybe. And a lot depends here also on the COVID situation and on the China situation. not just on the sanctions and embargoes. Regarding the sanctions and embargoes, we should also remember that there is an internal dynamic there with two sort of contradictory trends. One is the systematic deepening and widening of the sanctions that is taking place, which increases the disruptions. But there is also another internal dynamic, which will go into the future, will be the systematic erosion of the embargoes and the evasion of those embargoes. So that needs to be watched. Then on the third circle, the light blue ones, we describe the principal direct, should we say, implications of the war and the disruptions, supply chain disruptions. And this is the context in which the world economy will develop in the next 5 years, shall we say. Principally, the problem here is inflation, possible stagflation, which could last for a long time. The context of high volatility and foreign exchange rates, and the tighter monetary policies that will be implemented in order to fight inflation. And this will impact, is already impacting on household budgets, on corporate budgets and debt, and of course on public finances of governments. It'll translate, of course, into a lower consumption and investment. Everyone knows that. And generally will create, over the next 5 years, a context of higher risk, higher uncertainty, business risk and business uncertainty, which will inevitably translate into new business strategies developed by companies. And we already see that. It's not happening that quickly, but I think some analyses from the European Commission show that European companies have already about 40% of European companies have started to review their business strategies and even their business models. So that is the sort of medium-term context. And then this ripple effect will continue out into more indirect implications. And here we can see that we are facing testing times, very testing times for capital markets. Banking sectors will be under stress. Equities will be very volatile. And there will be duress, financial duress in certain countries, possibly leading to defaults. Already we have a couple in Sri Lanka, probably in Lebanon, and we can expect more of that. The food supply situation will, of course, as we all know, increase the threat of hunger in certain regions, which has, of course, follow-on implications on migration to Europe. But overall, we will witness a gradual structural change in the global economy, starting with global trade, but then investment and actually in the structure of the economy itself. And these changes will be accelerated by what is underway, which is the green revolution, the green and technological transformation taking place especially in Europe, and by the development of sort of new agendas, new economic and business agendas, where the themes of defense, redefinition of security, energy, food, climate, and other kinds of hybrid, cyber, etc., business agendas will emerge. And accompanying this, we expect the new dynamic in places where there will be accelerated wealth creation, but also impoverishment and pauperization. But generally speaking, I think we need to be optimistic here, and there will be winners and losers from this ripple effect. And it's very important, of course, for businesses to be aware of what's going on.
So a lot of risks out there, but silver linings as well, if you can seize on those, right?
Yes,
yeah.
I think if you look at this picture, you can actually, from a business point of view, almost on every single sentence that is written on this table, on this picture, there is a threat, but there is also an opportunity, and it's a question of positioning correctly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Witold. Dziękuję bardzo. And we would like to get to a few questions now. If anyone has any questions to put into the Q&A, we're watching that closely. We also have some other questions that came in advance. Let me go. So this is, of course, an EU Clusters talk. And in fact, the hashtag EU Clusters talks is where you can cast your message wider. If you heard a good soundbite in this discussion, please do cast that wider. And let me get to a couple of questions we had in advance. First of all, this from Vincent Luix. What are the views on the impact of the Russia-Ukraine conflict on nearshoring of manufacturing activities in Central and Eastern Europe? Will manufacturers put these investments on hold? Or can we expect an increase of investments to ensure more resilient supply chains in the region? That's one question. The other one is, what's the influence on the different manufacturing sectors in the region? Any sectors that are likely to emerge from this? Let me pitch that question out to Oleksandr, Taras, and Witold. Would any of you like to answer one of those questions?
As far as the evidence of nearshoring is concerned, I'm here in Poland. We see a little bit of that evidence, but it's not really clear whether that's Ukraine related or whether it's COVID and China related. But we also, apart from the nearshoring concept, there is some evidence of offshoring, where in fact you have Ukrainian companies thinking about moving their operations into Poland. So it's not quite as simple as the narrative suggests.
Okay, Taras, any reaction to that, Taras? If not, then we can move on. Actually, I think I want to stay on time, so we'll come back to the other questions later. Let us move on to block 2, the pitches, Ukrainian capacities and potential business opportunities. That silver lining through the collaboration with the Ukrainian Cluster Alliance. Let's start with Alexander Yurchak, the head of the Ukrainian Cluster Alliance. Alexander, please.
Yeah, hello everybody. I was today already in video, so I will present our alliance with Olga Trofimova, who is director of our program of export internationalization. So Ukrainian Cluster Alliance is quite a new organization. We were born 3 months ago, and we are new for Ukrainian partners, but also for European ones. So I will give you more details about our strategic statement, about direction, and Olga will details about our success story and about tactics, methods we act. So let me share my screen. Do you see my screen?
Yes, thank you.
It's okay. As I said, we have just 3 months, but in fact we come from platform industry for Ukraine. It's let's say platform of industrial high-tech business association in clusters, which have already more than 3 years. And we were created, organized around the targets, how to lobby, how to promote industrial sector to the state policy and strategy. So we have 4 working committee about digital transformation, innovation, and smart specialization, sustainability. And in fact, a cluster committee created 2 years ago as a national program of cluster development, which were promoted to government. Unfortunately, it was not validated, but nevertheless, it gives us a stronger, let's say, power to act. And we had the first really very structured and aligned with European policy project supported by GIZ about development of few clusters in the region of Zaporizhia and Kharkov. It was called clusterized, and we can say that this was, let's say, first step how to reorganize cluster movement in Ukraine. But anyway, before the war, we were not really organized in some formal structure, and when the war came, it was really, and it's still really terrible for us, because you know that, just to remind you about a few facts and statistics about this war, that 1/5 of territory of Ukraine is today occupied. And this is really industrial region where there were a lot of our clusters and industrial activity. It's a really huge territory. It's like 80% of Italy, or 1/3 of, let's say, Germany or Poland. And of course, in context of economic losses, they are huge. The general forecast of our GDP for this year is less of 40%. And we have many other negative factors you can read on the screen. For example, we have huge relocation of worker, decreasing of capacity. In agriculture, 25% of crops were not planted. We have today, it's quite new price growth on fuel. It's more than 150%. Credit rates increased to 25%. And of course, a big problem in the export, because seaports are blocked, and it was about 80% in our export of grain and metal, which are a main part of our Ukrainian export. And well, the huge destruction of infrastructure in city, so general losses are more than 600 billion US. So all this, of course, generated huge challenges also for our clusters. First of all, we talk about movement of, as I said, we have more than 30 clusters in the Ukraine Cluster Alliance, and let's say 1/3 of them, 10 even more clusters, were migrated from eastern and south region to central western Ukraine. So, but the problem is that many clusters, many of the members, they were removed or replaced without manufacturing assets, so just people. Yeah, so they rather belong today to category of internally displaced people, and this big issue how to relaunch production. So when I summarize all these challenges for industrial SMEs, member of our cluster, so the first what I say today on the video, so it's about order, yeah, because a domestic market, it's really shrinking. It's at least 50%. It depends on sector. And of course, we consider a strategy how to go international, how to be better integrated into global value chain. Sorry, it's a mistake. And any other international projects. So it's considered by our like response to this problem. And the second problem, the second challenge is about logistics. So it's about new ways of logistics, how to ensure how to cope with problem of insurance. safety, make it more flexible. There is also a challenge to find fuel, reliability of logistics. In production, especially for cluster relocated to central and western Ukraine, as they have huge problem to find, let's say, new facility, how to renew or relaunch their production. Of course, there are many problems with staff, human resources, just because many guys go to armed forces of Ukraine. Women became to category, belong to category of refugees very often, and in many cases we should reallocate our staff. It means that we look for new jobs, for new how to skill up staff for new jobs, for new orders, how to motivate them, and so on. And of course, there is a big problem of new suppliers, just because we should change almost all supplier from Belarus and Russia to mainly to European one. And very often it's concern of financial support, because typically new suppliers, they ask for prepayment just for safety reasons. So how we cope with all these challenges, few idea about our response. It's really strategic, because as I said, the first reaction was to be consolidated, because as I said before war, Ukrainian cluster, we were enough fragmented by industry, by category, by region, so on. So started from beginning of March, we created like a common initiative. We started to be united. So today we unite more than 35 clusters. It's more than 1,800 company. And it's all, I would say that all main regions, all main industry today, they are in Ukrainian cluster alliance. And what is very important, this consolidation started from the beginning with a European cluster alliance. And at the beginning of March, we've got this proposal to create marketplace of ECCP platform, and we started to act together with this team of ECCP and European Cluster Alliance. The second response is about mobilization. So we have very clear focus, not just about support of our member, but also on so-called critical industry. It's everything about security and safety of food security, about medicine, drugs, clothes, and of course about infrastructure. We did not touch military complex for many reasons. Mainly it's about this industry. As the idea was simple: if we better understand all challenges and needs of this industry, we can react, consolidating and mobilizing our resources in cluster. And third one statement is about a project. Yeah, of course, because many needs we started to cover in different projects. So in fact, we have today 5 directions. The first one is really driver about international help to UCA and to our industry. So we started to use almost all instrument we know since a long time on in let's say cluster community. First of all, it's what I said, it's marketplace on ECCP and the European Cluster Alliance. We appreciate a lot, because it's not our, let's say, our headache how to attract right association, right clusters. Everything is organized by European Cluster Alliance colleagues. So we had a lot of cluster meeting. Olga will say more about this result, and about also B2B meeting. Second one is about concrete project with our manufacturing clusters. So we had a few projects with first aid kits and textile project. It's mainly, they were oriented to internally displaced people and territorial defense. We also have project in staff reallocation, for example, creating database of free resources or industrial engineering IT, how to propose these services to our partner in Europe and worldwide. And this is the direction we go with, also with American CSIA, Control System Integrator Association. So we created internet platform to ensure better matchmaking between clusters and their participants. We launched it as well, analytical center, which produced today a regular digest. Also, we consolidated to give a common proposal to EU government, and in plan we plan also some issue of position paper reports. And of course, we have a few fundraising, but not too much. Fundraising initiative. So what is planned in let's say more in strategic context? How to extend the industrial dialogue? That was mentioned today by Maya Ruta, and how to really to make this program of integration into EU supply value chain more holistic, more, let's say, aligned, from Ukraine's side to EU program. And also we consider we have several proposals in how to better integrate into innovation space of EU. I think it's that's to build that's the picture, the common vision. It's enough, and I pass to Olga, who will give more detail about international help, how we act, what are concrete action here, especially with international help. What is the driver of our, let's say, action on international arena? Yeah, thanks.
Great, thank you, Alexander. Let us very interesting. I mean, how you're showing how we can possibly build on this association agreement we have between the EU and Ukraine. Also that free trade area that we have, not only with Ukraine, but also with Moldova and with Georgia. That's been in place for a number of years, and we want to build on that. Let's talk now to Olga Trofimova, Director of Export Internationalization Programs at the Ukrainian Cluster Alliance. Olga, please.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And of course, we would like to share our experience and to discuss our opportunities and possibilities. Nina, may I share this? Okay, good. So what I would like to say actually is first, we would like to share, Alexander showed you the situation. Yeah, the situation is quite, how to say, not really positive, but nevertheless, instead of the fact that just disappointed or just disseminated or just, I don't know, just crying on ruins, we decided that we need economic front. And from the beginning of March, we've started to work. We started to work, and we do it actually every day. I just want to show you some slides about our results, about our achievements, and about
Olga, are you still with us? I think we got possibly cut off here. Perhaps we need to move on if we can't hear Olga. All right. Olga, we will come back to you. Perhaps as we wait, I might pitch another question for those of you speakers who are with us. And another question coming in is from Yuri Zhukov at CJob Nikolaev. What is, if existing EU cluster strategy concerning integration of Ukrainian maritime cluster members like ship owners, shipyards, ship design, engineering offices, automation, and so forth? Give a big long list connected with shipbuilding supply chains into the EU added value chains. Can someone talk about that, about the maritime aspect? Hang on a second. I see Olga. Are you reconnected with us?
I'm sorry, some problems.
That's all right. Okay, we'll get back to that question. You go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was sure that everything was working. But again, about the forum. So for today, we do have more than 100 meets more than 100 requests from our companies, because again, we are asking not only for humanitarian support, we want our companies work, we want our businesses work. That's why it's really very important for our business, and we really need support from EU clusters and EU companies to survive. That's why, please, we would like to invite you to the forum. I will also send the link to this forum, and we are looking forward for more support. But again, it wasn't only the option, and it was not only the issue which we work on. So we really would like to stress on the fact that we are working with international relations at C2C meetings. Well, so what we would like, and you see, we had already 4 C2C meetings between Ukrainian clusters and European clusters. And moreover, we had these meetings with some clusters from Ukrainian side and some clusters from European side. And actually for all these meetings, we have kind of proceedings and have a kind of results after these events. For example, we do have, as you see, that Ukrainian textile, EU and Ukraine textile initiative, and one of our biggest association, like Ukrelikprom, now is a member of Eurotex. This is also one of the results of such meetings. Another result, which is maybe not directly, but still, it's Control System Integration Association and participation of our association at this association. And again, everything was happened just during these days, just during the war. There are also, as you see, more results because we already a member of Sesimo, Orgalim, and we collaborate with them, with French, Siemens, and Vertec from US. And we are working hard to spread and to include more international organizations, as Alexandra also said. And this is also not only the thing which we are doing. As for example, automotive cluster and European automotive cluster network, we also started to collaborate. I mean, we were already members of this organization, but we started to collaborate more close, more open, and more, I would say, even supportive from, of course, European side. And together we organized some B2B meetings with our companies already, not just with clusters, but also with our companies. And during, for example, these meetings, which we had in April, we had 18 B2B events just in a meeting. So we support our companies and support them in internationalization. Then we had also another B2B meetings for our companies. And today, after noon, we will have another one meeting with Silesia cluster. So thank you so much, Polish clusters, and we are looking forward for next cluster who could support our companies, who could support our B2B meetings. Moreover, it's also not the only thing which we do. We do participate quite openly, quite actively in B2B platforms. Of course, well known, and I'm sure Elena will say about it more precise about supply chain resilience platform. We also participated in Speed Match event and in a connectivity supply event, but also in some exhibitions which were not only online, but also offline, as Mebli Polska and Hanover Messe. We're also quite active. And we would like, again, we would like to declare to the whole world that we are not just begging. We really would like to be your business partners. We really would like to be integrated in your community. We would like to be integrated in your supply chains, but not only supply chains. We want to be integrated in all other levels. I mean, of course, engineering part, manufacturing, and other things. So as you see, we also participated in other forums. And again, we wanted to show it and promote our industries. Of course, without webinars, internal webinars, I mean, in Ukraine, it also wouldn't be possible because we understand that our companies and our clusters should be skilled up, as Alexander also told you. So we had a lot of webinars. Sometimes it's even difficult to find out how many exactly, but we do it quite regularly. And about some success stories, this is not only one, but this one we are really proud of, because some clusters and companies which never cooperate, which never collaborate before the war, start to cooperate, start to collaborate, and start to deliver goods for our army, for example. As for our businesses, I want to say, yes, most 50% of SME businesses stopped their activities, but many of them are still working. And there are results of small research at Ukrainian automotive business, which right now do not disrupt any supply chain. And all our automotive companies supply to German OEMs and other companies which they have. And they do not have plans to stop productions right now. So we are really want to, how to say, even to propose our opportunities to solve your challenges, because we know right now in Europe and other countries, there are so many challenges and actually also crises. We do have some solutions for you. And of course, we would like really to invite you to cooperate with us, to collaborate with us, with our industries, with our engineers, with our companies, at least to replace orders from Russia and Belarus to Ukrainian companies. And of course, we'd like to be integrated into European initiatives which you have right now. So we do not have any time for video about some industrial parks which we have in Ukraine, which are safety, which are in a border, which are really close for logistics. But I'm sure we will have time to do it. So Alexander, maybe some words to you.
Yeah, just to the final conclusion, our call to action. So what I'd like to say is that, yes, this is a war in Ukraine, but, you know, and it was said today that impact is global, so everybody pays its price. So as the difference maybe is Ukrainians that we pay just by our lives of our soldiers. And so that's why our first message is be solidarity. So with Ukrainian, also with Ukrainian business, because our economic front is also part of our victory of military front. And what was Olga said about our success, the first result is about solidarity, because we would never had such result without support from colleagues from European Cluster Alliance, from Poland, Lithuania, Romania, Spain, France, and so on. So please be solidarity, Olga.
Yeah, and again, we would like to be your partners. We understand that maybe it's not easy, it's difficult, but we could do it, and we want really to be, how to say, mutual beneficiary for you too. So for Europe. So again, we are strong enough, but of course we need your support.
Great, Olga, thank you very much. And thank you to Alexander as well. We want to stay on time here. We have questions coming in. There is a raised hand from Artem Kushnirenko. Can we quickly go to Artem to get your comment question very quickly? And then we will, of course, move on to Elena. Artem, please. Are you with us? Can you put your camera on and your mic? Hello, Artem. Okay, maybe we wait on that. And now we go to Olena Fisenko of EEN Ukraine. That's the European Enterprise Network. Olena, please.
Hello, everybody. but I can to turn on my camera. Organizer, please help me. Oh, now it's okay. Thank you. You give me allows. One moment. Have you seen me? Okay.
We see you fine, Alina. Go ahead.
Okay. I will share my screen. Can you see my presentation now?
Yeah, looks good. Thank you.
It's in full
Put it
mode.
in, yeah, you need to put it in a slide show form, right? You click on the bottom right, the little image.
Now it's okay.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Dear colleagues, thank you for invitation. My name is Fesenko Olena, and I'm coordinator of EU and Ukraine consortium during last 5 years. And now I will give you a brief story of our consortium and our activities in Ukraine now. One moment, I can. Possible to change slide. Okay. Maybe you know what is it, Enterprise Europe Network. It is the largest largest support network for small and medium enterprises with international ambition. It has about 3,000 experts across 600 members organization in more than 65 countries of the world. And we are happy that we can be part of such a big network. After signing in 2017 the association agreement to COSME program, our EU and Ukraine consortium works in the network as powerful member during the last 5 years. We are one of the youngest EU consortium of the network. Main goals of the consortium is stimulation of international trade between Ukraine and Europe, import-export, stimulation of innovation activities of Ukrainian companies, and providing information and practice advice on international cooperation. EU and Ukraine consortium is a very friendly team. We spent a lot of time paying attention to staff learning and training. Our staff members on a regular basis passed both EN trainings and our internal trainings. Also, we regularly organize study visits to companies in different regions of Ukraine to develop our own clients database. Now our consortium covers all regions of Ukraine. All of these years, we tried very close to cooperate with other partners of the network. We organize or co-organize a lot brokerage event, company mission, information event. Here you can see some photos of these events. All of these years, our EU and Ukraine consortium achieved all planned KPI indicators. Some of them we made even more than in times that it was planned. You can see that from this slide that from year to year, EU and Ukraine consortium becomes stronger. Our client database become bigger, and our indicators increased. For example, we were on the 4th place among all 65 networks EU and Ukraine consortium of the world in number of EN profiles about Ukrainian SMEs requests of offers published in the network system. Each year we organize or co-organize with other partners of the network more than 100 events per year. Also, we helped to organize more than 2,000 face-to-face meetings, B2B, our science to be of technology meetings between Ukrainian and European SME per year. Our EN consortium always has a very proactive position. As a result, last year, our EN Ukraine consortium was selected in the semi-final of Client Journal Award with a successful story about solar gaps. Also, it was very pleasure for us to be a finalist of Special Recognition Award, which took place during the annual network conference, EN conference in Stuttgart, Germany last year. And you can see a fragment of this on this slide. Then our life has changed radically in one moment. On 24 February 2022, Russia launched a bloody war in Ukraine. After the start of the war, EN Ukraine consortium faced big challenges because the process of signing the single market program with Ukraine postponed via start of the war. And our EN Ukraine consortium won the competition of the network and received high marks, but we cannot receive financing until the association agreement to single market program will be signed. To continue support our Ukrainian businesses, small medium enterprises and innovation organization, we created EN Ukraine Consortium, EN Charity Foundation, because we wanted to support not only business, but our Ukrainian people too. Now I will give you a brief information about our last activities in EN in war period. How EN Ukraine Consortium can help Ukrainian business. We can help Ukrainian business to make profile about their products or services in our network database. We can to help to enter on single market and other international markets too. We can help to promote Ukrainian company and their products on the European market. We can help to find international partner. It can be business, technology, innovation partner. We have very big database. We have three types of support. It is international partnership, advisory support, and innovation support. Our staff members are very experienced in this field and can provide very wide range of services. Also, EN Ukraine Consortium, together with other network partners, organize a lot of events. Now it's, as a rule, online events. And we used B2Match platform or our matchmaking platform for organizing company mission, brokerage event, and B2B meeting between Ukrainian and European companies. The network expert provides tailor-made advices, and as a rule, it is practice advice on doing business in European country, in a different European country, in defining the best market opportunities for Ukrainian or European companies. If we speaking about Ukrainian companies, it's question how to enter on single market, and opposite, some European companies contacted us and asked to find some distributors or partners in Ukraine too. Also, we provide information about EU law and standards, advice on intellectual property, and other information support. Now we started very big promotion campaign. The title of campaign, it is Cooperate with Ukraine, and we have several events in the frame of this campaign. The first event took place yesterday. We have registered about 100 SMEs on this event. We have broadcast, so many companies and many organizations over the world can to see this event. The title of events was Cooperate with Ukraine, Medical Sector and Pharma Industry. Soon we will have the second event. It is a supply chain resilience matchmaking event for Ukrainian and European SMEs. The event will take place on the 15th of June, so in a week, and we invite cluster organization and your clients to take part in this event. After this, we will have our common event with EN partners. We will co-organize this event. It is building and construction industry event. It will be realized on the B2Match platform. The next event is cooperate with Ukraine Fashion and Textile. It's offline event. We already selected 6 Ukrainian designer companies, and they will take part in Turin and Fashion Turin week. And now we're developing a very interesting Ukrainian Day show for Turin. And soon you will have more information about it. The next event is innovation event. It will be in August. And after this, we will have 2 events which are focused on agriculture sector of Ukraine. The first event will be in October, and the next will be in November. So it's general information about our events which we plan to organize this year in the frame of EN Ukraine Consortium. Also, our consortium took part in the management of platform. It's supply chain resilience platform, and it is very pleasure for us that on this platform has registered already about 90 Ukrainian companies, and it's quite a very active platform. A lot of Ukrainian companies try to find partner of supply in Europe. Also, we continue to provide our general service. It's creating profiles for Ukrainian companies. And maybe you know that now EN changed the platform, and that's why we have to register all our clients in new platform. And as a rule, per month, we registered about 50 Ukrainian SMEs in this platform. And for example, in April, we created already and published about 50 EN profiles. Also, 2 staff members of EN Ukraine Consortium involved in management EU cluster support Ukraine forum, and it is a very nice example of EN and cluster cooperation. We have several successful stories about humanitarian aid for Ukraine. Now we are very proud that our EN Ukraine Consortium took part in developing EU-Ukraine Solidarity Alliance business matchmaking platform. Now we are involved in management of this platform, and this platform, maybe you know, was launched only last week on Friday, and working only 2 working days, and it is very pleasure that this platform became very popular, and we already have registered about 90 companies over the world, from approximately 20 countries of the world. And I'm sure that this platform will help Ukrainian agriculture companies to find partners in Europe. Here you can find my contacts data, and please pay attention that in unity strength, and I'm sure that we together can do a lot, and will help Ukraine to integrate in Europe. Thank you for cooperation. So,
stronger together, Olena. Thank you very much. Thank you. And in the interest of trying to stay on time here, I'm going to skip over the Q&A at this point. Hopefully we can get to as many questions as possible after this. But let's move to block 3, impact of the war on Ukrainian social enterprises and their actions to support civil society and local businesses. showcasing examples, starting with Marta Gladka of Urban Space 100. Marta, please.
Hello, everyone. Good morning and greetings from Western Ukraine. I'm very honored to present for you our social enterprise. So Urban Space 100 is a social enterprise in the format of the restaurant. And it was opened in 2014 in Ivano-Frankivsk, Western Ukraine. 80% of the net profit of our social enterprise goes to the social projects in Ivano-Frankivsk, to development social projects in Ivano-Frankivsk. And also we have 100 co-founders who donated $1,000 to open this restaurant. The idea of urban space belongs to an NGO platform called Teple Misto, and our NGO is working in Ivano-Frankivsk from 2012 with different urban projects. Okay, what about urban space? So urban space is not just a restaurant where you can eat, it's also a place where you can find like-minded people, discuss some things, also buy some local goods from our craft store, or organize your presentation, your event in our opening platform. Also, till now, we held like 1,020 events in our open platform, and we are still doing this right now because we are feeling that people, our citizens in Ivano-Frankivsk and also internally displaced people who coming to Ivano-Frankivsk want to help together, to gather together and want to be on these events. Also, the most unexpected things in our urban space is our transparent cabin, Urban Space Radio. This is online radio. You can listen this in your countries, and it's Ukrainian music, all other alternative music, and also a lot of urban podcasts. Right now, this Urban Space Radio also making some podcasts about the war and about the businesses, how businesses hold in this time in Ukraine. So this cabin, transparent cabin, is inside an urban space, and also I am sitting right now here in this transparent cabin in our restaurant. Okay, so as I said, we was opened in 2014, and it's like 7 years, more than 7 years. From that time, we supported 135 urban projects in Ivano-Frankivsk for more than $150,000, and it's different projects. It's like some cultural projects that you can see on your screen. It's like murals, it's some ecological projects, some alternative living projects, and some eco projects in Ivano-Frankivsk. Also in 2018 was opened first restaurant on our franchise. It's Urban Space 500 in Kyiv. And if you understand, there is 500 co-founders, and also they're giving 80% of the net profits, but to the projects in Kyiv, social projects in Kyiv. And about now, so since the full-scale war in Ukraine, like other businesses, we start work, and we try to support economy of Ukraine. From the very first day, we hosted a lot of internally displaced people in our urban space, and we try to help them, to support them psychologically and informationally. Also, we donated like $20,000. It was like net profit for our net profit for 5 months to the medical support of Ukrainian army. Right now, we also constantly confronted with a lot of business challenges. For example, like the lack of some foods for our restaurants, because a lot of foods was coming from abroad or from temporarily occupied parts of Ukraine. We tried to replace these products. What we can do, we do. Despite of that challenges, our organization Teple Misto, Warm City platform, we think that it's very important to develop and support social enterprise in Ukraine. And also before the war, we have been planning to open one more social enterprise to promote reading, as a culture of reading in Ukraine, and also to support Ukrainian publishing market. Right now we still are going to work on this idea, on this social enterprise, because we feel that we need to support not only like economic or military, but also a culture of Ukraine. And we need to support with seed financing on early stage to launch this project. This our new social enterprise aimed to promote the reading. So thank you very much. Thank you for your attention. And if you were interested about our urban space project, so you can find us on our social media, Facebook, or our website, Urban Space 100. And if you have questions, I'm here for you. You can give a question on our chat. Thank you.
Great, Magda. Thank you very much. And everyone keep an eye on the chats and the Q&As. There's lots of information there that you can get additional information. Of course, keeping in mind that all of this can be seen again on playback, because there's a lot of information on each of these presentations. Petro Darmoris, member of the board, Ukrainian Social Academy. Petro, if you can keep it brief to 5 minutes, that would be great. Petro, please.
Yeah. And morning, everyone. I will try to be as short as possible. Thank you for having me in this discussion. I will just briefly tell a few words about who we are and what are we doing. So Ukrainian Social Academy is an organization that works for social entrepreneurship development in Ukraine since 2015. And of course, we are working directly with social enterprises, NGOs working as social enterprises, local municipalities, communities, engage business and other stakeholders in order to develop a social economic ecosystem in Ukraine. During the last year, we also work on implementation of the EU Social Economy Action Plan into Ukraine. So formally, Ukraine is not the part of the program, but our aim is to be integrated and integrate the Ukrainian social economy to the European one. We are talking about Ukraine in times of war, and we are talking about the circumstances and the context that the problem started since the 24th of February. But I would just like to mention that Ukraine has been in a state of undeclared war since 2014, when the neighboring state illegally annexed a part of our territory and temporarily occupied. And consequently, almost 1.5 million citizens of Ukraine were forced to leave their homes, move to the territory controlled by the Ukrainian authorities. We have got 1.5 million IDPs, more than 400,000 veterans, and other vulnerable groups. And actually, why we are talking about where is the role of social entrepreneurship in that? So actually, these issues of IDPs, social economic reintegration, adaptation, recovery, were actually started to be addressed by the social entrepreneurship approach. So actually, veterans and their families founded around 300 new businesses. The displaced persons launched dozens of companies in their new places of living, and hundreds of them were employed by the existing social enterprises. So actually, even this observation from this experience give us the evidence that social economy plays the crucial role in the social and economic development of the country. But of course, the current circumstances are much difficult. We have more than 8 million displaced in Ukraine. We have more than 5 million refugees. And of course, the top social issues, the key social issues, the increasing the rates of unemployment. And problem number one, especially for internally displaced persons, is the lack of income. So here is the role of social enterprises in that context. In terms of the impact of war on social enterprises, so my colleagues previously described the problems and issues of small and medium-sized enterprises. So actually they are exactly the same for social enterprises, because the majority of the Ukrainian social enterprises are the micro and small businesses. In addition, the Ukrainian social enterprises are very social mission driven. So actually, since the beginning of the full-scale war, the majority of Ukrainian social entrepreneurs temporarily stopped their business activities or started to provide their products or services pro bono, or provided humanitarian assistance on a 100% on voluntary basis. So consequently, their biggest challenge now is to reconstruct their business model and restart business operations. And similarly to the other micro and small businesses, the crucial needs of Ukrainian social enterprises are also getting access to finances. Here we're talking about the grants, the loans with no or low interest, and the need of professional consultancy, the reconstruction of the business models, business strategy, marketing, and sales. And my last minute about what are we doing and what are we doing at the Ukrainian Social Academy in order to help the Ukrainian social enterprises. So we organize the free information sessions and webinars for social entrepreneurs on anti-crisis management. We managed to raise some finances and continue doing that and launched an emergency fund. And then we reinvest these resources to purchase equipment for social entrepreneurs working in the fields of HoReCa, farming, textile industry, in order to restart or even grow their social enterprises and create new jobs, especially for internally displaced persons. The Ukraine Social Academy is now the official member of the Social Economy Europe network. And thanks to the support of this network, we have already established partnerships with some organizations in Europe, and especially we have concrete success cases in cooperation with organizations from Poland, which is called SOVES. With them, we are working on assisting Ukrainian social enterprises to enter the Polish market in a way of finding new suppliers in Poland or selling products to Polish clients. So this is a kind of fostering economic cooperation. We also work with local communities, as I already mentioned, local municipalities, and together with local stakeholders, we provide solutions for launching new social businesses that either provide social services at affordable prices for displaced persons or generate income for providing such services. And of course, we continue our educational and mentorship programs for startups and do the investments in launching new social businesses that will also make their contribution in creating new jobs. So all these our efforts definitely contribute to solving the crucial issues of unemployment, lack of social services, especially to displaced persons. And of course, social entrepreneurship development directly impacts on economic development and reconstruction of Ukraine. Thank you. That's from my side.
Great, Petro. Thank you very much. I want to get just very quickly make reference to Yuri Zhuzkov's question about Ukrainian maritime cluster members, the integration of them, and Ivan Kochitsky, the NGO Agency of European Innovations, wanting to discuss the possibilities of project proposals under the Horizon program. That's something to keep in mind. I see that there have been offers to the clusters on that. There's similar interest from other participants. They can put their proposals into the Ukraine Business Matchmaking Platform, I'm going to put that in the chat, actually, so people can see that. And Nina, I think I'm going to pitch it to you now for the financing opportunities.
Thank you very much, Chris, and thank you, everybody. So in terms of funding opportunities, there are also some from the European Commission that we would like to share with you. First, there is a call for expanding investments ecosystems. The objective is to have increased access to capital investments in less connected innovation ecosystems, enhancing openness, competitiveness, and global potential, increase venture investments and enable late-stage growth of local startups, and facilitate investors' access to flow of local deals. This is a call that is open until the 4th of October, open for members of the European Union, also overseas countries and territories, and also other non-EU countries are eligible, which Ukraine is included. It's a call under the Europe Framework Program Horizon, and the call is published on the Funding and Tenders portal. You will find the link in the chat. There's a call for innovation from small-scaled projects. The objective is to have projects demonstrating highly innovative technologies, processes, business models, or products that are sufficiently mature and have potential to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And the objective is to offer financial support tailored to market needs and risk profiles of the eligible projects, while at the same time attracting additional public and private resources. This is a call with a deadline for the 31st of August. Eligible entities can come from any country of the world, but the proposals must be related to activities that take place in the EU member states, Norway or Iceland. It's a call under the Innovation Fund program. You see the topic ID here in the screen, also published on the Funding and Tenders portal, and the link in the chat. The European Institute for Research and Technology is looking for cross-KIC regional innovation to strengthen the presence and outreach of the knowledge and innovation communities, so-called KICs, including a special focus on the Western Balkans regions and Ukraine. The objective of the activities for projects is exploring linkages and synergies between the communities and local innovation ecosystems, smart specialization strategies, and to provide capacity building support. This is a call with the deadline of the 28th of September. Eligible are entities from the European Union, the overseas countries and territories, and other non-EU countries, including Ukraine. The call is under the Horizon Europe Framework Program. You see the topic ID here in the chat. We will also publish, as written in the chat, this information on the European Cluster Collaboration Platform so that you can have a closer look at this. And you can also click on the link in the chat to the Funding and Tenders portal. And last but not least, also interesting, there is a guide on EU funding for tourism that was published on the EC website. This is an online guide with highlights on a wide range of funding programs that are financed under the new budget, under the MFF 2021 until 2027, and Next Generation EU. And it gives you information about identifying relevant programs and financial instruments, how to get familiar with the documentations and the call documents, how to find partners, and in the end, how to submit your proposal and your application on time. So please check this out. There might be also opportunities there. And last but not least, we would like to announce that the next EU clusters talk will be on the topic of raw materials. We heard today from the speakers that this is a critical issue. So we invite you to connect on the 22nd of June at 8:30 to the next talk, where we will talk about critical raw materials and global supply chains. Thank you, and back to you, Chris.
Thank you, Nina. Well, until then, until that next cluster talk, thank you for watching, for being a part of this. Our thanks to all our speakers, to Nina and the team, and to all of you for being a part of this. Make sure to register on the platform on this EU Clusters Talk platform, the European Cluster Collaboration Platform. This is a bi-weekly event on behalf of DG Grow at the European Commission. This is recorded, so you can play it back, and there will be a report on this. And keep in mind the hashtag EU Clusters Talks, hashtag EU Clusters Talks, tweet like a beast. I'm Chris Burns. Thanks for watching and listening, and see you next time.